Outlawed producer Jane Marie here. This week, we're going to share with you an episode of another show I produced. It's a day in the life of a telehealth abortion provider. The podcast is called Finally, a show about women that isn't just a thinly veiled aspirational nightmare. Yeah, that's the whole name. And this episode recently won a Gold Signal Award for health and wellness reporting.
So it's around 6:30 and I'm just getting ready to start my day. I'm going to have two very excited dogs who are ready to go outside and see what other kind of animals may have come through our property overnight. Anything from something big like bears and elk to something small like a fox or even a squirrel. This morning I'm going to go ahead and text my son and just tell him to have a great day. About the time the dogs come back in, I know that my daughter's going to give me a call. I'm really lucky that she calls me every morning on her way to work. And as soon as all that's done, then I'm going to jump in and start working and see what the day brings.
This is Finally a show about an abortion provider for over 25 years. Jamie Rich is a nurse with the Satanic Temple's first ever telehealth abortion clinic.
My name is Jamie. I am an OBGYN nurse practitioner. I'm lucky enough that I get to work from home in northwestern Colorado, and I provide telehealth services to people in New Mexico. I can remember at 4 or 5, someone asking me, what do you want to be when you grow up? And my answer has always been, I want to be a nurse. It never changed. It never wavered. I never wanted to be a doctor. I feel like the philosophy of care is just a little bit different. Nursing looks more at the holistic patient, not just, the person who has a breast lump or the person who needs surgery, but there are many other layers to a person, from their mental health to their socioeconomics to possibly their religious or spiritual beliefs, what's going on in the home that is impacting the way that they're able to take care of themselves and so on. And so different philosophy of care that just worked better with my beliefs and how I wanted to take care of people. I grew up in kind of a conservative family. My dad was Catholic. My mom was not Catholic, but was pretty religious. And, like birth control and premarital sex, you don't talk about that because that doesn't happen until you're older and married and you don't worry about that. Mm-hmm. And so I think a little bit was that normal kind of teenage rebellion. I'm going to figure out who I am. I'm going to figure out what my beliefs are and where I want to go and what I want to do. And to my parents' credit, they were like, you know what, if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. That is great. And so my husband, right when I graduated from college, we got married. We were still married, was a photojournalist. He stayed here in Colorado, and I went to Los Angeles, moved up here to where I am now, and started working for Planned Parenthood. The community is supportive, or if they're not supportive, then it's basically whatever, don't you do what you want to do. I'm not going to interfere, but I'm not going to support it either. So I left Planned Parenthood a little over a year ago. Before I left Planned Parenthood, though, I had been approached by some folks who were starting TST Health, which is the telehealth that I'm working for now to provide abortion services to folks in New Mexico. TST Health is the Satanic Temple Health, which then provides the care to the Samuel Alito's Mother's Abortion Clinic. So get your abortion today in the name of Samuel Alito's mom. You can find out more on our website. And, Alito, obviously on the Supreme Court, definitely not pro-choice, definitely very conservative, has voted against religious and reproductive rights. And I think it is intentionally a little bit provocative to get people talking about it and to get people to hopefully do some research, find out what is and what it isn't, and be able to make decisions, again, based on facts. The telehealth laws within New Mexico are a little easier to manage. New Mexico was kind of a safe haven. They're surrounded by Arizona and Texas and pretty close to Oklahoma and all of those states that are not friendly to women or abortion services. And so New Mexico kind of made sense in terms of where we could provide services and hopefully get some people who didn't have any other option to get into New Mexico to be able to access care. There's been a few articles in the paper against having abortion services and against TST Health, but that also tells people where to access care as well. New Mexico, where we're providing service, does not have abortion restrictions, and so we're not fighting that fight here, but the Satanic Temple is in process of legally trying to get care provided in some other states where it is not so friendly. So TST Health is a component of TST, which is the Satanic Temple. At this point, it's a startup. It's less than a year old. We actually have only been seeing patients since February of 2023. In some of these states that are very unfriendly or who have essentially banned abortion, they are using religion, especially Christianity religion, to state that this is something that goes against God and should not happen. And so what TST, the Satanic Temple, is doing is saying, that these are our religious tenets and our religious beliefs. And by you restricting or outright banning abortion is that you are infringing upon my religious convictions. The mission of the Satanic Temple is to encourage benevolence and empathy, to really advocate for practical, common sense, factual-based information. Really, really important for this group. They oppose injustice, like taking away rights for women who want to have abortion as part of their health care, trans rights, LGBTQ rights, those kind of things. And so that's really the overarching kind of mission statement of the Satanic Temple. And making sure that decisions that are being made, whether that's at a local government level or at the upper levels of the United States government, that those decisions are based on facts and based on science and not based on a religion that is not based in science or based in facts and is, and excludes certain people because for whatever reason. The fundamental tenets of the Satanic Temple, so there are 7 of them. The ones that we tend to use the most for an abortion ritual or for folks who are interested in having some type of a ritual with their procedure is that one's body is inviolable, subject to one's own will alone. Bodily autonomy, belief should conform to one's best scientific understanding of the world. So in other words, we are providing care that is based on the best practices, on scientific evidence, on 25 plus years in the United States, more than that in other countries, on, how this is safe and effective. So those are the 2 that we tend to use the most. The tenets also talk a little bit about compassion and empathy towards people, trying to understand people, not judging, struggle for justice, and not having certain groups marginalized. Freedom of others should be respected. In other words, I may believe this, you may believe that. Doesn't make one of us more right and the other person wrong or anything like that, but that, as people, we all have different beliefs and different views, and that should be celebrated. We talked about people are fallible. If you make a mistake, then you should, once you recognize that, own up to your mistakes, move forward, try not to do that again. Again, get the information that you need to be able to move forward and make better decisions. And then the last one just talks about all of these tenets are used kind of as an overarching principle. It says to inspire nobility in action and thought. And I think that that's really a great way of saying that, to be compassionate and to continue to learn and to continue to grow and to continue to help provide justice to those groups that may be marginalized, that we should be looking at the written and spoken word and using all of these tenets to be kinder, gentler, and learn more and continue to move forward in this world. Some people are actually active, ongoing members of the Satanic Temple, or they have a friend who tells them about it. There are so many things that the Satanic Temple does. It's a group of folks who believe in facts and believe in science and believe in bodily autonomy, who are getting together and trying to make a difference in their communities. I think when people hear the Satanic Temple, they're thinking, oh my gosh, they're worshiping Satan.
I tell you, you really cannot make this stuff up. This group pledges to provide, quote, religious medication abortion care.
And note how they identify themselves as not believing in a literal Satan. But when you associate yourself with Satan at all, Satan is the father of lies. So how are we supposed to believe that that's even true?
Gather together to stand as one unified voice against this demonic spirit that is trying to invade our city.
They're petitioning for access to abortion, and what they say is to, quote, continue performing voluntary abortions as part of its religious rituals. And to me, that is a huge ordeal. And so,
that they're sacrificing and all of these horrible things that you hear about with Satan worship. And that's not what this is at all. I mean, I think some people probably would be concerned with the name, the Satanic Temple, although this health clinic part of it is TST Health, which I think sometimes people don't know what it is until they've actually gotten into the paperwork. But once they get in the paperwork, I think they realize that, this is a really professional organization. We are dedicated to providing the highest standard of care, that, everything that we're asking is very clear and has a purpose and is very medically focused. They can always ask as many questions as they'd like to about our training and, how everything got started and, what we're doing for quality control. And I haven't had anybody who made an appointment who has said, this is kind of strange or whatever. It's mainly, thanks so much for being available. This is, you made this much easier for me and I can do this on my own time. And it's been a great service. I have a daughter and a son. My daughter is a high school English teacher, also in a small town in Colorado. So this is really funny. Actually, it's a funny story. So my daughter was in college and she did a semester abroad. And it was the semester, that it was during the time when Trump got elected. And I can remember a few days before the election, I said to her, if Trump gets elected, you're going to have to stay where you are. And she's like, okay, and kind of laughed it off. And then, of course, he got elected. And so she called me and she was crying. And she's like, I can't believe this happened. One, I don't want to stay here. I really want to come home. And I'm part of the Satanic Temple too. I joined because, I just thought it was a good thing to do. And I'm like, well, good for you. That's great. I don't know anything about it, but that's wonderful. What are you doing? She goes, I don't really do anything because there's nothing here that I can do with them, but I just wanted to do that as a protest. I was like, that's great. That's fine. I think it's really funny when she was in middle school, the school approached me and asked if I would teach their sex ed class. And I was like, sure, absolutely. And so my daughter actually sat down and did all the flashcards and all of the handouts for the sex ed class for her middle school class. And then my son, I also did his sex ed class and he was great with it and, made sure he participated to make his friends participate. You would look at him and just, make a judgment of, looks pretty conservative, he's kind of like a cowboy kind of rancher, mechanic kind of looking kid. And that's what he does for his full-time work. But he's probably the most liberal of all of us. There were a few times that it was probably uncomfortable for them, that they had friends or family who weren't real keen. It was not a secret where I worked and what I did, that weren't too keen on that, but they handled it well. Funny story. I was going into work and I had my daughter with me who at the time was in college. So she wasn't little, but even then we have talked about this from the get-go with both my children. But my daughter was with me and the protester yelled that the angel of death was behind me and that my daughter was going to suffer because of it. And we both looked at each other, my daughter and I, and we both walked in. Of course, we do not engage with people like that. And we both walked in and we said, good. We are going to, she's like, Mom, you're going to continue doing what you do. And I'm like, yes, I am. She goes, me too. I'm going to continue to be, outspoken and an advocate for whoever needs me with this work. I was just thinking, I know that people who are anti-choice really do say, how do you live with yourself? How can you do this? And I guess my response to that is, how can I not? This, again, is essential healthcare. This is providing a very safe service to folks who need it for whatever the reason is. And again, no different than anything else. And so I couldn't live with myself if I didn't provide the care that I feel is appropriate and necessary for the people I see. TST Health is not a temple or a gathering place for folks who have the beliefs of the Satanic Temple. However, we do incorporate those tenets with the patients that we see to whatever extent that they would like to go through any type of a ritual with their abortion care. I'm going to read what the TST Health site says about the abortion ritual. So it serves as a protective rite. Its purpose is to cast off unwanted feelings that a patient may be experiencing due to choosing to have a legal and medically safe abortion. The ritual is designed to alleviate stressors and empower the patient to be guided by the Satanic Temple's third and fifth tenets when pursuing their decision. The ritual serves to assist in affirming their decision and to ward off the effects of unjust persecution, which can cause one to stray from the paths of scientific reasoning and free will. And those third and fifth tenets, one of those is bodily autonomy. The fifth one talks about the scientific and best practices and utilizing, the best knowledge that we have for care. Some folks want to participate in some type of a ritual, even if it's, I have chosen to do this. This is right for me. This is right for my body. I am firm and clear in my decision. It could be as simple as that, which we do want everyone to be able to verbalize to us that this is their decision that they want, that they're not being coerced in any way. Or it could be that they may actually take one of the 7 tenets from the Satanic Temple and actually say those out loud prior to taking their medication or when they take their medication. So the patient that we're seeing today, we ask if she would be willing to come on to the podcast just so that everyone can kind of hear the process, the consent process, how we explain everything to the patient, my part of the visit, the provider part of the visit. And she said that she's more than willing to do that. So we just got a message from our support person, Jess, that the patient has joined. And so we are going to join the call as well. It's a video call.
Perfect. So before we get started, I'll just tell you a little bit about me. So I'm Jessica. I will be going over the process with you and a little bit about the medications, what to expect and all of that.
There you go.
I do go over quite a bit of information. So if at any point you need me to stop or repeat myself, just let me know. And the medical history forms that you filled out.
The way the telehealth works is that they can fill out the paperwork online wherever they are. Doesn't matter. We get it. No big deal. When they do their telehealth visit with me, which is a video visit, kind of face to face, we each get to see each other and talk to each other and, hopefully get a little bit of a connection. They need to physically be in New Mexico, whether that's 1 foot over the line from Texas or wherever. They just have to physically be in New Mexico. Some patients really stick in your mind because they had to travel 2,000 miles and, they had to get childcare, and many of them have traveled. But a lot of them we've seen have actually been in New Mexico, and they're in small little towns. The reason I was really excited to work with TST Health is that through their membership and through donors, the only cost to the patients who are accessing is the cost of the medication, which is about $80. Other places, it's anywhere from $600 to, $1,200 for a medication abortion. And so, especially for folks who maybe need to travel, folks who are in some of these really tiny towns in New Mexico that socioeconomically are not stellar, this is a really affordable, great way to access abortion care if they need that service.
Medication, and we send you to pregnancy tests. So the first medication that you will be taking, it's called mifepristone. It's just 1 pill.
Oh, I think we lost her. Mm-hmm. Hey, Jess, I think we lost her.
I think we did. There you go. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Technology. Alrighty, so the first medication that you take, again, just 1 pill.
So medication abortion is safe and effective for someone who is 11 weeks pregnant or less. Someone who maybe had a wanted pregnancy and for whatever reason it's not a normal pregnancy, we don't tend to find that out until, sometimes 15, 16, even 20 weeks into pregnancy. And so that the person who's in that situation would have to have a surgical or an in-office abortion procedure to terminate a pregnancy that is abnormal. The prescriptions for the abortion pill and for the other medications that we prescribe along with that go through a mail order pharmacy. And so if they're in New Mexico, it can come to their house, it can go to a P.O. box, it can go wherever they need it to do. If they don't live in New Mexico, they can either wait for that package because we can overnight it, or they can do mail forwarding from a physical address and then it'll forward it to their home. The reason that we do the mail order is that most pharmacies do not carry the medications for medication abortion. There are two main medications. One is called mifepristone, RU486, the French abortion pill. Those are all names that have been used. And when it was first approved for use in the United States back in 2001, there were some very strict guidelines in that as a provider, I had to contract with the manufacturer. They had to verify that I really knew what I was doing and that I, knew how to prescribe it, knew how to take care of it, and I gave the patient all the right stuff and I could take care of them. And as we have found, because it had been legal in European Union for much longer than that. We had all their safety data, and then we had all this data from the United States as well. And we realized, wow, it is pretty safe. And so even though I'm still contracted with the manufacturer to say that I can prescribe it, most pharmacies do not carry it. It's crazy that, it's just crazy to have to jump through all these hoops for a medication that is super safe and should be available when someone needs it. You kind of want to be like, why can't you understand how important this is? And just because you don't believe in it doesn't mean you should take that access away from someone else. I may not believe in, having a root canal, but I would never take that away from someone else. It just astounds me that still in this day and age, we are taking things away from a certain group of people, whether that's, people of color, whether that's people who, are assigned female at birth who can get pregnant and we're taking away their abortion access or their birth control access or whatever it is. It's just, I'm kind of dumbfounded by it all. I try not to get in arguments about it because I feel like if someone has those beliefs so entrenched that they're not willing to listen, just like I'm willing to listen as long as what you're telling me is factual and, again, based on not just feelings, but on actual facts and what's going on. I'm willing to listen. But if someone is so entrenched in it's wrong because, the Bible says it's wrong or whatever, then I'm not going to get in an argument. And so there are some people I don't want to talk about it with, that I know what their beliefs are. And so we won't talk about it. Or, like in large family gatherings, I may say, okay, everyone listen, we are not talking about these 5 things. You can talk about anything else you want, not those 5 things, because it doesn't do any good to argue.
Useful information that you'll need once you receive the medications and once you start taking them, okay? So just make sure that you do have them. Yeah.
Hi, Alicia. My name's Jamie. I'm one of the nurse practitioners with TST Health. How are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you guys?
Good, thank you. So once you receive your medicine, you just want to decide when you want to take it. I know Jess told you the first medicine you're going to take is the mifepristone that stops the pregnancy from developing any farther without any major side effects or problems at all. And then since you're going to be taking your other medicine, Buckley, which is in between your cheek and your gum, you're going to wait 24 to 48 hours after you take that first medicine to finish this process with the medication abortion. So whenever that timing works out best for you, when you're ready to take your second set of medicines, you're going to first take your nausea pill, which is called ondansetron or Zofran. It dissolves on your tongue. You're going to take that. Then you're going to take one of your prescription ibuprofen pills, and you're going to wait 30 minutes. Let those medicines get in your system and start working. The next thing that you're going to take then is you're going to take your 4 misoprostol pills. You're going to put 2 here and 2 here in between your cheek and your gum, and you're going to leave them there for 30 minutes. Swallow down whatever's left, and then the process will get started. It usually starts fairly quickly after you swallow those down, so that's why I want you to take that other medicine before you take your misoprostol pills. Okay, so most people feel better within 12 hours. You should definitely feel better within 24 hours. If you don't, or if at any point you're worried or concerned, that's when you want to call our on-call nurse. As Jess said, we do have somebody who's on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So if you have questions, that's when you want to give us a call. We are here to support you kind of before, during, and after. So make sure if you need us, let us know.
Okay. Just confirming that you're okay doing these standard shipping.
There's such a wide range of folks who access abortion care, whether that's through TST Health or anywhere else for that matter. And yes, there are the teenagers who, got pregnant accidentally, didn't know or didn't care about birth control, whatever, all the way up to, the 51-year-old woman who thought she was going through menopause and, oh, crud, and I'm now pregnant and my children are already grown, or I never wanted to have children in the first place, or whatever the situation is. Through TST Health, we don't see anyone who is under 17, partially just because of, some minor abuse reporting and those kind of things. So we do see some older teenagers. That's been a very, very small percentage of who we've seen. We see a lot of people who are in their 20s, mid to late 20s. We see a lot of people who are in their late 30s, and we've even seen a few people who are in their mid to late 40s. And so I can't say that there's one demographic of who we see, because we have seen the entire gamut of folks. Some patients do stand out. I was so proud of this young woman who I didn't even know, but she was in college, unintentionally pregnant. She had all of these plans for her future, which she was able to share some with me, and she's probably going to be running the world someday. And pregnancy did not come into her plan. And so she filled out her paperwork. She wanted to talk about birth control. She was concerned about timing because she lived in the dorm. She needed a time when her roommate wasn't there and she had some privacy. So we worked around her schedule. And that's the other beauty about, TST Health, is that we can work around somebody's schedule. Okay, this was, my roommate has a class from 6 to 9 p.m. Mountain Time. Can we please? I'm like, absolutely. What time works for you? We went through the whole process. She had downloaded all of her forms. She had all of these questions. We got all of those questions answered. She was firm and clear in her decision and didn't have family that she could turn to because of their beliefs. But her partner was supportive, and she had a friend who was supportive and had someone to help her kind of go through this process. And it was wonderful to see this person is taking charge of their life. They know what they need. They've gotten the facts. They know how to take care of themselves. They reached out and they got the care that they needed. We were able to connect and do that. And she can have children at the time of her choosing. We see people at some of their worst moments, and to be able to say, I hear you and it's okay and I can help you and let's talk about this, to when maybe somebody else in their lives doesn't want to talk about it, or they didn't get any support, or they didn't know where else to go. And it's a wonderful career.
Okay, perfect. No worries. Okay.
Great. Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Take care of yourself. And again, please reach out if you need us, because that's what we're here for.
Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. Just want to say this is a great organization. You guys are doing great things for people.
Well, thank you.
So thank you guys very much.
Thank you so much. And like I said, take care of yourself, and please let us know if you need anything from us.
Thank you guys.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
There's no way that I could do the work that I'm doing without the support of my family. Not only my partner of 35 years, but, my kids as well, who have their own set of beliefs and values, and everyone is just so supportive and has enabled me to do what I do. And for that, I'm really grateful. I've talked to a lot of people who are looking at a nursing career or a nurse practitioner career, or, want to go into sexual and reproductive health, or even specifically want to go into abortion care. And it's been the biggest honor and privilege to do what I do. And I wouldn't change a thing. And it's so awesome. Hard, but awesome.
You're tearing up.
Yes, I am tearing up, because it's the best thing ever. As I'm finishing up my workday, I just kind of review and make sure that everything that was on my to-do list today got done. Or if it didn't, I just move it over to tomorrow. I turn out the light and leave my little office here in my house. And once I'm out in the living room, I usually pour a drink and touch base and connect with my partner. Okay, puppies, let's go outside. It's about 9:30 and I'm getting ready to go to bed. I usually let the dogs out for one last little romp around the yard. Good night.